God of God, light of light, lo, he abhors not the virgin's womb. Very God, begotten, not created. Welcome to this daily devotional, Comfort and Joy. The origins of some Christmas carols are lost in the mists of time. There's some debate about who wrote the words to O come, all ye faithful. We know it was originally written in Latin with the title Adeste Fideles, but it might have been penned any time from the 13th to the 18th century in any one of a number of European kingdoms. However, the lyrics of the second verse, with which I began this devotional, are much more ancient still. Of that we can be certain. The words God of God, light of light, and very God, begotten not created, come straight from the Latin version of the Nicene Creed, first written in Greek in 325 AD. And he abhors not the virgin's womb is an allusion to the traditional Latin hymn of 387 AD, known as the Te Deum. Now, if these classic Christian texts are unfamiliar to many of us today, that puts us at odds with most of our forebears. Both the Nicene Creed and the Te Deum were commonly used in the worship of the Western Church for many centuries, and both were included in the Book of Common Prayer, that's the prayer book of the Church of England, which was published in its most long-lasting version in 1662. God of God and light of light were phrases in the Nicene Creed that were used to explain and defend the divinity of Jesus Christ. In the early 4th century, certain heretics had argued that Jesus was divine, but in some sense less divine than God the Father. This heretical doctrine compromised the biblical teaching of Jesus' full divinity, and it eviscerated his ability to save us. When the Creed affirmed that Jesus was God of God and light of light, it asserted his eternal equality with the Father. Very God simply means true God. Begotten, not created, means that Jesus had no beginning. He's always and eternally the Son of the Father. But what about that strange phrase, lo, he abhors not the virgin's womb? Here's how it appears in the context of the Te Deum originally. Thou art the King of glory, O Christ. Thou art the everlasting Son of the Father. When thou tookest upon thee to deliver man, thou didst not abhor the virgin's womb. The point is that Jesus, in becoming incarnate in Mary's womb, humbled himself in a way that is truly shocking. The eternal God, the King of glory, took a human nature. He allowed himself to be conceived, to gestate in a woman's womb. He was born. The Te Deum recognizes that this astounding turn of events had a glorious end in view, the deliverance or rescue of human beings. It's with that great purpose in mind that God did not abhor his choice. Now, the language of abhorrence also appears in Scripture. On the surface, the Old Testament book of Leviticus would seem to have nothing much to do with Christmas, but in the middle of that book there's a promise that gets to the heart of what Christmas is all about. In chapter 26, God says, I will make my dwelling among you, and my soul shall not abhor you, and I will walk among you and will be your God. You shall be my people. Now, this covenant promise is not to be taken for granted. Just a few verses later, God sets out what will happen to his people when your soul abhors my rules, he says, so that you will not do all my commands and you'll break my covenant. And this is, of course, what actually happens. It's not just ancient Israel's story, it's mine and yours. We abhor God. We hate his rules. We despise him and his covenant. But he came to us as a human being. And when he did that, we killed him. Abhor. It's not a word we use very often, but it's a strong one. My dictionary says it means to regard with disgust and hatred. And in the very same chapter of Leviticus, Leviticus 26 and verse 30, God says to those same people who abhor him, my soul, God's soul, will abhor you. Now I need to remember that's the default position. The gospel promise should be null and void. I abhorred God totally unjustly. He abhors me totally justly. End of story. But God does not ultimately abhor the human flesh he's made. Instead, he takes it eternally to himself. He does not abhor the virgin's womb. I will make my dwelling among you, Leviticus 26. That's literally in Hebrew, I'll give my dwelling or give my tabernacle in your midst. It's a gracious and undeserved gift. A gift of God, of light for us. Isn't that something to celebrate at Christmas?